At the edge of Africa's mist-veiled Mau forest, where rivers are born and the savanna begins its endless golden breath, a herd of zebras steps into the dawn, stripes glowing against the rising sun, hooves whispering across dew-soaked grass. Here, survival is written in movement, in vigilance, in the fragile balance between forest rain and open plain, where predators wait in silence and a changing climate tightens its invisible grip, reminding us that these black and white wanderers are not just symbols of the wild, they are living barometers of a continent fighting to endure. At dawn, Africa does not simply wake, it ignites, slowly, like an ember breathing into flame, and the first light pours across Kenya's Rift Valley highlands, where the Mau forest rises in dark living folds. A vast montane stronghold stitched with mist and birdsong, its canopy holding the night's cold in its leaves. Here, rainfall gathers and lingers, and from this green altitude rivers are born. Threads that become lifelines, flowing outward to feed lakes and plains, including the Mara River, one of the arteries that helps sustain the great grazing nations beyond the trees. The camera glides over the forest edge where shadow loosens its grip, and the land changes character. The dense, wet hush of woodland gives way to open grass that shimmers with dew, every blade tipped with silver, every breath visible in the chilled morning air. This boundary, where forest meets savanna, is not a simple line. It is a negotiation between worlds, and today it belongs to a herd of plain zebras, their bodies emerging from the gray-blue dawn like moving constellations of black and white. They are not just animals, they are patterns in motion, living geometry shaped by hunger, fear, and the ancient need to keep walking. In the distance, the land rolls toward the greater Mara ecosystem, where zebras are at home in their thousands. And even the tourism brochures admit the obvious. These are the striped heartbeats of East Africa's famous plains. But the story we tell begins not in the postcard sunlight, rather in this colder hour, when the world still feels unfinished, and survival is decided in whispers. A foal, new enough that its legs still look surprised to be legs, presses close to its mother's flank. Its stripes are softer, slightly blurred, as if the savanna has not yet finished writing it into existence. Around them, adults spread in a loose crescent, heads down to feed, heads up to scan, the whole herd breathing as one organism, because a zebra alone is a question mark, but a zebra herd is an answer. The grass here is sweet in the early season, fattened by moisture that drifts down from the forest's microclimate, and the herd grazes with urgency. Bite, chew, step, bite again. Always moving, always measuring. Their mouths are built for it, their teeth designed to grind tough vegetation, and their digestive systems tolerate what other grazers might reject. They are harvesters of roughness, converting harsh stalks into muscle and motion. Yet grazing is never just eating. It is exposure. Every head lowered is a gamble, every second spent chewing a second not spent watching. And so zebras adapt with a strategy older than language, shared vigilance. One lifts its head, ears rotating like radar dishes. Another turns slightly, aligning its body to face the wind. A third pauses, listening for the punctuation of danger. The twig snap, the hidden exhale, the silence that falls too suddenly. Somewhere out there, the predators are also waking. Lions prefer the low light, when contrast is trickier and distances lie, and in the half-lit grass the zebra's stripes become a paradox, bright, bold, yet strangely difficult to read. Scientists have long debated the power of the zebra's pattern, and the truth is not a single truth. Stripes can confuse a predator in the chaos of a running herd, making it harder to track one body among many. They may also disrupt biting flies, lowering disease risk, and even help manage heat as the day grows crueler, one adaptation serving several masters, because in Africa, efficiency is survival. The narrator's voice lowers, "This is not decoration. This is armor made of illusion." The sun climbs, and with it the temperature shifts. The dew burns off the grass, like memory fading, and the wind changes, drier now, carrying dust from lower ground. The Mau forest behind them remains dark and wet, a reservoir of cloud and rain, but the plains ahead tell a different prophecy. A season tightening, water becoming a rumor rather than a certainty. The herd begins to drift, not because they want to, but because nature's map demands movement. Zebras are nomads by design, following rains, tracking the green pulse of the land the way a sailor reads currents. And in the broader Mara River basin, grazers will circle back and forth following rains, repeating routes that have been etched into the ecosystem for generations. But lately, those routes have begun to feel less reliable, as if the old calendar is smudging. The foal stumbles briefly, then recovers, tiny hooves learning the grammar of flight, and the mother nudges it forward, not gently but decisively, because tenderness can be a luxury the wild cannot afford. The camera cuts to the grass itself, flattened patches where herds slept, fresh dung steaming faintly in the sun, hoofprints layered like footprints in wet cement, evidence of passage of the constant trade between staying and leaving. And above it all, the geography asserts itself. These highland forests are more than scenery. They are infrastructure for life. When they are intact, they release water steadily, feeding rivers through dry spells and smoothing the extremes of weather. When they are cut and fragmented, the land's ability to hold moisture weakens, and downstream the plains pay the price. Parts of the Mau forest have faced decades of pressure, clearing, encroachment, conversion, enough that significant sections have been altered, a reminder that even a water tower can be dismantled plank by plank. The zebra does not know policy or politics. It only knows consequence. A cough of alarm, sharp, sudden, ripples through T. He heard. Heads lift in near unison. Bodies compress. The foal is swallowed into the protective center as adults orient outward. Far off, barely more than a moving shadow, a lioness slides through grass the color of old gold, using the wind, using the sun, using patience. For a long moment, nothing happens, nature holding its breath. Then the herd chooses motion. Not panic, precision. Hooves strike earth in staggered rhythm. Dust rises, stripes merge into a vibrating blur, a living optical storm. The lioness tests the edge of that storm and hesitates, because to commit is to pick one target, and picking one target in a hurricane of stripes is a decision that can fail. The zebras run not in a straight line but in a flowing geometry, bending around invisible obstacles, following leaders that change without announcement. This, too, is adaptation. Fluid leadership, collective intelligence, a shared instinct sharpened by centuries of ambush. And when the danger passes, as dangers sometimes do, the herd slows, not relieved, not celebrating, but returning to the work of being alive, grazing, scanning, stepping forward. Because survival here is not a single victory, it is an unending series of small correct choices. The camera pulls back, widening until the herd becomes a moving brushstroke across the land. And beyond them, the forest still stands, mist still lifting from its crowns, rivers still beginning their long descent. This is the opening chapter. A world held together by water, by grass, by the thin boundary between shade and sun. The zebras keep walking, because the land insists on it, and because somewhere ahead the season is changing, and the next test is already writing itself in the dust.